She just turned 22, sexy little thing, yeah. Looked down at the trigger finger, didn't see no ring. So I asked her what's her name. She replied Brown Bessie. I said my name's Mesus, next round's on me, yeah. I hope you like shots. She fired back with a wing. That's when I said, bartender, I'ma need another drink. Matter of fact, gon' bring two, cause I know they closing soon. And I'm going home with you, cause I love my guns, I love my girl. And you ain't gon' ever take either one out my world. Cause I love my girl, and I love my gun. And you try to take either one, you better run, run. She just turned 30, yeah. Man, she looks great. Look down at the trigger finger, didn't see no ring. So I said, hope this ain't rude, baby. Straight the only way I shoot, maybe. I'm crazy, don't you think that you and I would make cute babies? So why don't we give it a shot? She fired back with a wing. That's when I said, bartender, I'ma need another drink. Matter of fact, gon' bring two, cause I know they closing soon. And I'm going home with you, cause I love my guns, I love my girl. And you ain't gon' ever take either one out my world. Cause I love my girl, and I love my gun. And you try to take either one, you better run, run, run. I don't really do this very much. I'm shooting from the hip like when I carry guns. It's time to bite the bullet. I'ma finally pull the trigger. Shotgun wet in Vegas. Here we come. So gonna get your dress and get my monkey suit. And then we'll both confess our love and say I do. Protect my number two with amendment number 2. God bless the red, white, and blue. Cause I love my guns. I love my girl. And you ain't gon' ever take either one out my world. Cause I love my girl. Try to take either one, you better run, run, run. Yeah.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Tactical Pineapple Live, where once again, this shit show is rolling. We're ready to go. We've got a guest, and we're actually fucking early. That doesn't ever happen. So, for anybody who's curious, I will drop a link in the chat. Our guest this evening is Bikers, Beards, and Brews, otherwise known as one of the best newer motorcycle content YouTubers that I've found.
Sweet.
So, welcome to the show. As I told you just a little bit ago, pretty much everything we do is a shit show. There's no format to anything. We 100% do this as we do it. So we're live. Everybody can see us. And what do you got to say to the people?
Hi.
That is perfect. That is perfect. So, real quick rundown in the chat. I know a couple people jumped in here about a day and a half, 2 days ago, said first, not first, second, whatever. We got G23 here. Bolt Bucket just jumping in, saying sorry earlier, just subbed. Dr. Cat Milk, Bolt Bucket, you don't have to say sorry. It is fine. I am just as new as everybody else. So, Operator Tony, as always, in here saying hola. Brian the Biker is also in here. Bikers, Beards, and Brews is in the chat as well. So if you got anything to say, anything to ask, tag him. He'll catch it probably. If not, we'll throw it down his throat. Mario the Mechanic Molina is also in here. Dr. Catmilk, I saw you in there, sir. You come in, I think, first the other day already. And Mario, like I said, is here. We got penetration. We do have penetration. A little inside joke. You'll get it. If you're watching the stream, you'll see it. But it is something that you can't see, I guess, on the stream here. We'll have to figure this out. Maybe we'll go... yeah, we'll figure it out. It is literally, if you're not familiar with the Penetrator, the bike theft deterrent device of meme old. The seat located on a spring with a spike. So, short little video clip, little fun. Mario, I believe Dr. Catmilk shared that with us, but Mario is always a fan of the Penetrator. So, yeah, so Mario Mechanic Molina says, you got this, you got this, you got this. Mario, we never have this. That's definitely not what we do here. So, yeah, look at that. We can actually adjust the screen a little bit. Get this in there so you guys can see the chat tonight. So we're kind of using StreamYard, kind of using OBS like I usually do, and it just works out better sometimes with a guest. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Everybody here, other than maybe Bolt Bucket and Bry the Biker, know who I am. So I'll give a little rundown of me in a minute, but more importantly, the guest of honor tonight is you.
Thanks. So I'm out of the Boston area. I'm actually I'm closer to Salem, Mass than I am to Boston, but I mean, once you leave New England, nobody knows where any of these small towns are, so there's just no point in trying to tell anyone. I've been riding for about 20 years, drinking for longer, and yeah, I just kind of slap on the camera and just do whatever the hell I feel like at that moment, and hopefully have some content people are willing to watch.
Definitely. I literally just found you, I think, like 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, this guy seems like he might fit in with the people that I hang out with here. So let's see if he wants to come on and have a little discussion. Neighbors to Peter Griffin, says Bolt Bucket. I believe the grind your gears comes from that, which is a segment you do.
It does. When I first did the segment, I actually just did it, and I've been very clear about this. That wasn't meant to be something that I did more than like once or twice. It was meant to be kind of like a throwaway video that I just put out on a Friday at 7 a.m. and didn't really care about. And now they're like some of my most watched videos. So yeah, I'm kind of stuck with them now.
That happens sometimes. That definitely happens sometimes. Have you ever tried to imitate Indian Larry? I'm guessing G23 is not talking to me on that, because that is not a question G23 has ever asked me before.
I have horrible balance, so at no point in time would I try and imitate Indian Larry, because that requires standing on my bike while I was riding, and I would die.
Yeah. I'm too fat to do that shit, so I'll just be completely honest. I don't like standing up on my floorboards if I don't have to. I trust Harley. I don't trust Harley engineers. So
I've gone into my bike in so many different ways that I don't trust Harley either. I've replaced so much on my bike.
Yeah, well, that's generally how it works. So I've seen pictures of your bike. I've seen you've replaced so much of your bike that it's not really much of a Harley anymore. But that's just fine. That's part of the culture. So, let's see. Real quick, what are we drinking tonight? Have you drinking anything? I've got some New Glarus Moon Man.
I've been working all day, so like mostly what I've been drinking is Nitro Brew coffee, which I posted one of my shittier ones this morning from Dunkin' Donuts when I was in a pinch, and then a couple other cold brews that were just amazing. And now I'm just kind of on water, because after this I'm gonna crash.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, we won't keep you too long. I just kind of want to get a little exposure, have a little fun, and kind of discuss, what got you into making, I guess, motorcycle content on YouTube. I know a lot of us, especially the Harley riders, have a hard time going, you know what? I'm gonna put a camera on my face and take video of this.
For me, it's like I guess it was before I started doing motorcycle content. I used to be in a band when I was younger, and so stuff like that. Like I like to entertain. I like to have fun. I'm very much an extrovert. Um, and then last year with like all the lockdowns and stuff, I was just looking for ways to kind of channel some energy and not be stuck at home and all that. I'd spent some time watching, like I stumbled across some other moto vloggers online, John Maxwell and stuff like that. So I got really interested in them, and I was like, hey, why not give it a shot? And I decided to dive in and just start making some content. When I first started, I definitely I think like the rest of us, we were all trying to figure out how to do it well. So I
I'm
think
still
my
trying to figure
older
out how to
video,
do it well.
yeah, I still haven't figured out how to do it well, but when I first started, it was very monotone and like very straightforward and kind of dry. And as it's gone on, I'm like, I'm just gonna let my personality start coming through more and more, and like people are gonna watch it or they're not, but
Right.
let's see what happens.
Yeah, I know. I started this out with these Friday night live streams, and my first one, I came in and I'm like, all right, I got bullet points. We're gonna talk about this, and this. And at the end of it, I'm like, it was literally a friend of mine on the show, and I'm like, that seems so freaking mechanical. Like, this is just garbage. And from that on, it was like, screw it, just fucking talk. So
Yeah,
I find that
and
personality is the number one thing.
yeah, I mean that's really how it goes. And like I've done a few videos. Like I did like five ways to be a better moto vlogger and 5 more ways to be a better moto vlogger. And I brought up in that, like, you got to let your personality shine through. I know a lot of people tend to, I've seen a lot of moto vloggers who will just show video and they'll play music and it's just them riding. And it's like, dude, anyone can do that. Anyone can make that video. So there's nothing that's separating you from the other, like, 5,000 people with like a camera doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So it really has to be personality that sells your channel and sells your videos.
Logorrhea is the way to go, says Dr. Catmilk. A+ for you, Dr. Catmilk, with the vocabulary. For anybody who isn't familiar, it's just let it go. Just long form. But yeah, so real quick in the chat, looks like Bolt Bucket is having some Sam Adams. Mario Mechanic Molina's got some Blue Moon. Looks like that's pretty much everybody who said they were drinking anything. I know everybody on my side's drinking probably. But I guess Dr. Catmilk has a question, says CZ question mark. So I'm guessing he wants to know, are you into guns at all?
I am, but I don't own any. Like one of my friends has a shit ton. So anytime I actually want to go shoot, I just give him a call and he gets super excited because he gets to break them all out and we get to go shoot things. So
yeah, a little less excited these days, I'm sure, with prices of ammo and everything else. But it's interesting. Like I was only going to ask because I know that you being in the Massachusetts area, that you have some eccentric gun laws, to say the least. But we won't get into that if that's not what you dig into. So I don't want to put you on the spot and be like, what about this? And you're like, I don't know. Shut up.
Yeah, no, I've mentioned it before and stuff. Like I have no issues against guns. I just don't own them. Like, so it's just one of those things. So
Yeah. Bolt Bucket wants to know, how do you do it well? You just do it.
As soon as somebody figures it out, let me know so I can start doing it well.
I've looked at like all these different videos, how to set up your helmet, how to do this, how to do that, and I'm like, I'm just gonna use what I got and figure it out, because from one person to the other, you can't tell a quality difference. And this person's using $200 worth of equipment, and this Shade Tree is using a $3 microphone.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I think the only thing that really bothers me about that, because he's not the only one that's talked about that. I think the only thing that bothers me about that is not the fact that he does use that. I think that's great and that's awesome on him. It's he'll put out a video like that, and then like a bunch of moto vloggers will be like, oh, so I ordered that microphone that, you know, Shade Tree's using and I'm trying that out now. And it's like, dude, like that's not what's going to get you 300,000 followers.
Right.
Like if you
Well, I think a
sounded,
lot of people chase the quality. So
I,
I've done
I,
that too, as far as like trying to find quality stuff. And it's like, there's a big difference between the equipment and the quality of recording.
this is true. And, but at the same time, it's like, even with that quality, I mean, like I could definitely point out a couple channels that, I mean, they are like cinematic. They might as well, they could have like professional TV shows and stuff. And the people that are on the channel, the actual like, you know, content providers, they're like a board of wood. And
Right.
it's so there's, you know, great. You have all these great effects. You have this great soundtrack. You have this great quality. You've got like 15 cameras, but your content sucks. And it's like, I
Right.
think I would take good like content with lower quality over high quality with bad content
Right.
any
And
day.
in that, meaning the quality of the content that's being discussed than the quality of the audio. But I know a lot of guys who have a problem with the wind noise. I know a lot of my guys, before I started doing motovlog stuff, they were kind of already there, so they stuck with me and bore it out while I was trying to figure out how to fix that shit. But it's a lot of trial and error. That's
It also depends on like how much you're trying. Like I remember watching a guy once who I'm pretty sure he didn't use a mic at all. He was just trying to yell as loud as he could to his GoPro that was mounted to the front of his like, you know, his helmet, and he's riding. And it's like, dude, like I can't watch this because it's you sound like you're in a wind tunnel and you're just yelling, and I could barely hear it. It just sounds like crap, dude. Like,
yeah.
but I'm more forgiving if somebody, you know, they have a mic and like, you know, it sounds a little muffled or like it's a little hot. I get it. I've been there. I understand it.
Right.
And again, I'll take that anytime with somebody who has a personality over someone who doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, as far as equipment, I called out all the Ruroc riders because they're like out here promoting the helmets, but then they don't use the shockwave system. I'm literally recording all of my moto vlogs using the shockwave system.
Nice.
But I've had to make modifications because Ruroc engineers, I love them to death. They don't know shit about audio.
I have yet to purchase a Ruroc. Uh,
I know you got that Ruroc condom though, so we're good there.
yes, I did get a lanyard, a condom, and like some other stuff. So like I don't know. Their helmets still don't appeal to me. Like not having open and closed like vents is kind of a big deal for me,
Yeah.
especially being like up in New England where it's like winter 10 months out of the year.
Oh, I know. I'm in Wisconsin, but I will say this: I don't mind it. But I went from a half helmet, I went from a mushroom top to a full face, going from one to the other. So wind noise, the Ruroc is amazing compared to what I was used to. No earplugs on a half helmet, just rolling down the road with a stock Street Glide windshield.
Yeah, I can see that being an issue.
So,
and an upgrade.
yeah, like to me, I was like a huge difference. To somebody who's coming from a Shoei or something that's got, really nice wind protection, really, really nice sound quality inside, it's a completely different animal. But
Well, that's the thing too. Like I haven't even spent that much money on. I dropped $200. I have an HJC I-90. It's a modular helmet. It's fairly quiet. I've done some adjustments inside of it just to make it a little bit better. But I haven't even like spent money on like a Shoei or anything like that yet.
right.
So
Well, and putting a bucket on is the first thing, but yeah, being in Wisconsin, I get the vent thing, but even with the cold weather, we get good wind. Yeah, Mario is going apeshit over ET right now.
yeah, I just saw the comments. That's so.
Yeah, he's like freaking me out, man. It's ET. It's like 1984 freaking movie history. You gotta love it.
This is actually the first movie I ever saw in theaters when I was a kid. So it has a special place for me. Actually, he's in a screen-ready replica of Elliot's bicycle behind me right there. So
Nice.
it's full-blown nerd back there. It's
Hey, everybody's got to have something to nerd out on. So, um, yeah, I mean, as far as Dr. Camlock says, Elliot. Yep, there you go. As far as just content that you do, what kind of brought you into the whole sit down talking head, semi comedic actual content creation other than just motorcycle content?
well, honestly, like I said, I didn't even really want to keep doing like grinds my gears. Just one day I wanted to put out short videos, that were just kind of like, for me, Wednesday is my main release. That's the thing that I've put time, thought, energy, and all that into. Friday is like, it's a little bit more me if like you went to a bar with me and I was just looking around, like, because I tend to be like a people watcher, and I tend to be like a Peter Griffin, where it's like, we're in New England, we're loud, we swear a lot, we just kind of like go off on things. Facts are kind of up in the air. They don't have to be solid. Like we just rant on things. So I just looked at it and I was like, all right, well, I do bikes, I do beards and brews. So why not just start ranting on stuff? Harley is an easy target to rant on. Indian's an
They
easy
do make
target.
themselves easy.
Yeah, and then I just kind of started going right across it, and a lot of those, like, I don't have a script for them. I don't. If you look at them, they're all in pretty much just one take. So it's always just me thinking about something that really annoys me, and then I kind of like let it kind of roll around in my brain for a day or two, and then I just go down and I record it, and I just like I go off for like 5 or 6 minutes, and then call it a day, and that's good.
Right, perfect. So, Bri the Biker says Quinn is the best helmet out there, right, Ben?
Oh God, yeah. So Bry is very familiar with my adventures with Quinn. Like whereas I kind of poke and joke around with Roar Rock, I've not actually owned a Roar Rock, and like I said, they just don't appeal to me at this point in time. But I will say their customer service team, they nail it. Those guys are awesome. Quinn is it's a helmet that I did buy, and I have 2 videos on Quinn. And the original video, I bought it really hoping that I could sit there and go, look at this helmet. It is so good. Why are you buying a Roar Rock when you could have this helmet? And it turned out to just be this horrible piece of shit. And when I started dealing with their customer service was just this horrible piece of shit. And it's like, they basically in probably the most polite form told me to go fuck myself when I said I wanted a refund. And then I put out the second video where I just tore them apart in detail, ripped apart the helmet, just completely crapped on them. And all of a sudden they just called me out of the blue. And they're like, yeah, so, mistakes were made.
Yeah.
Allegedly they're going to give me a refund, but I have yet to get that yet.
Well, that's the same thing. Like I've dealt with Ruroc, being that I bought a 2.0 when they were new, early pandemic, everything, like, and they actually shipped pretty decently on time. A lot of people get hung up in the shipping of time and how long it takes once they order, but they don't pay attention that when they order it, it has a dispatch date on it. Like, that's something that a lot of people fail to realize. Like, oh, I just ordered a helmet that's not going to be released for 3 months. And then they sit for 3 months and piss and moan about the release date, or that they haven't got it yet.
I think the biggest problem with that, especially on Rorok's end, is like, especially like and you have it as well because of where you're living, like in New England and stuff. If we're waiting for that dispatch date and then like it gets delayed another 2 months or something, by the time we get that fucking helmet, it's time to pack up the bike and it's winter again.
Yeah, no, and
then with Rorok, they're releasing a new helmet every year, so you get the helmet, you pack the bike, and then the new helmet comes out.
right. And then the thing is, like, to me, like, I wouldn't even, as much as I would love to have a 3.0 just to see the differences, I wouldn't purchase it right now because I'm like, that helmet's good for 5 fucking years. I'm getting 5 years out of it at least. I just paid $500 for that piece of shit. It's $100 a year I'm getting to work out of it. Unless that thing hits pavement, it's going down the road.
I thought the best thing, I thought it was absolutely hilarious, is when I put out that Rorock video. A bunch of the Rorock fans actually came and like, you know, flipped out on my my comment section. And I don't block any of my comments. I just, you know, they can go through. If somebody annoys me, I'll just kind of like make them feel stupid. I've done that a couple times,
Yep.
or I just respond to them, and it's never like, you know, raging on the keyboard. It's just like, you know, I feel like I'm decently well educated, and I'm really good at making you feel dumb. Like just making fun of people.
It's
And
not
like,
a Boston thing, is it?
no, it's just for me, it's like I guess this goes back to childhood. Like I've always been bigger than all the other kids. So it's like if you hit somebody, it's like, oh, you're a bully. So I've always learned how to just like tear people apart with words. And like because I feel like that's a level playing field. Anyone can do that. But in the process, I've also learned, you know, when people talk shit about me, I don't care. Like nothing you say is worse than what I can like say or I've said about myself. So, you know, I had a few people on there that got really upset that I went after Rorock. And then Rorock put out their email like a day before dispatch for the 3.0 saying, oh, hey, we're going to back this up a month. And some of those people actually came back to the video and they're like, I still don't agree with you, but what helmet would you recommend I get?
That's awesome. Yeah, and I get it. I get the dispatch date, and pushing it back sucks too. And then there's a lot of stuff that, you know, people were talking about the quality of it once it was released, which is kind of disappointing. But like you said, their customer service, and even though you weren't a customer, just dealing with those guys, you kind of seen it.
Sure.
I will say, like, I ripped the microphone. I don't know how I ripped the microphone off my Shockwave system sometime this last winter. I got a hold of them and I'm like, hey, how do I order a new one of these? You know, I know you can just buy the mic and this separate. It's a separate piece in the kit. I'm guaranteeing you can get it separate. Like, what do I got to do? They're like, oh, just send us give me your address. I'll send you a new one.
Yeah.
Sent me a new one, and they sent me the upgraded one. So I've got the upgraded mic and the headset from the 3.0. So I was happy with that because they were that much better.
No, that's very cool.
So those were definitely better. But yeah, I've been on them for a year and a half now because it's like my biggest thing is like they offer all these accessories, shields, shit like that, pin locks. When they first did all those reviews, you know, everybody made it seem as though a pin lock came in the box. Nobody said anything about it. It was just one of those things. It went with the people who were getting them for review.
Oh yeah.
And I should have known better. And I ordered it, and I'm like, it comes with one pin lock. I don't need 2 pin locks, you know, whatever. Cold weather riding in Wisconsin, I'm only going to be wearing probably a clear shield anyways. Dreary days, you don't need all the sun.
Yep.
So I'll just throw that in there, we'll be good. And then I get it, and I'm like, shit, it didn't come with one. And then you go to the website, and they've got one shipping option, and it's 2 days fucking direct, you know, international shipping. I'm like, it's $24 for the pin lock. It's $26 for the shipping. I'll go without.
Yeah, that's I mean, like I said, I can't say anything bad about the customer service. They're on point with that.
And they do.
Sure.
Like I think I kept making a comment because this year with the 3.0, the only person who said anything about all the extras that they get was John Maxwell.
Yep.
So I commented on his thing and I said, thank you for being a real reviewer and being honest about the extra stuff that you get that others don't.
Well, and that's one of the things, like, even if you go back to like the last Rorock helmet he had, like he got the 2.0 as well, and he made it abundantly clear. He's like, yeah, this thing's free. And he did all the pros, but then he took it out and he rode it on like 3 or 4 different bikes.
Right.
And when he started getting to the cruisers, he was like, yeah, this thing's loud. It's louder than my other helmets.
Right.
And I really appreciate that more honest like approach that he does.
Right.
Anyone else who's gotten them, like, you know, they're just like, oh, this is the greatest helmet ever. It's like, fuck you. if you seriously can't find anything to say negative about a product, you're full of fucking shit.
Right. I like it. I like the helmet. It is loud, but like I said, where I came from, what I was using, it's not loud compared to that. And then as far as opening and closing the vents, I can open and close the mouth vent, which matters as far as vlogging does. It does pretty well. And then
Yeah, I mean,
the other stuff, I'm a fat dude. Winter riding, I'm wearing jackets. I'm hot as shit. Like, if it's 40 degrees outside, I'm wearing a sweatshirt. That's the type of person I am. So, colder weather riding doesn't bug me if I got cold air running across my face.
yeah, and see, like that's an honest like review though. It's like, hey, no, these vents don't open and close, but I don't need them, stuff like that. Like it's like I just did a review for some shocks and I sent it to the company that like I bought the shocks from. And in there, like I stated, I was like, these are I can't compare them to like the Legend Revos. I can't compare them to Olin's because I haven't ridden like Legends or Revos. And I said, hey, these shocks are great. They don't have the extra dials and stuff. So this is like a set and forget it sort of shock. Like I kind of went with tried to cover both sides, tried to, cover all the bases so people knew what they were getting into. When you see these people like getting the Rock helmets and stuff, they're just like, oh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the most perfect helmet ever. It's like, dude, go fuck yourself there. Like, if you seriously can't like sit there and go, I wish the vents closed, or you don't get a pin lock in the box. I got it because I have 100,000 followers.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and hit me up, send me an email. We'll get you a free shipping code. And I'm like, well, that's great. And I mean, I can even show the emails where I'm like, I'm fine with that. I'll accept a free shipping code. My problem is this isn't something that everybody can get.
Yeah.
And you're not offering a secondary option. And after I probably talked to him for a good 45 minutes, like he explained they're working on getting better shipping options available. They don't really have much other than FedEx for international right now, which I kind of called him on. I'm like, dude, you're in the UK, you got Royal Mail. Like $6, you can send that fucking package over here. Like I used to run a business shipping stuff from Europe to here. We're good. Like you can get it. But it's exclusivity contracts that were signed, things like that to help with, release. And they ship in volume, which helps their bottom line.
Yep.
Why they do the dispatch dates. They can offer shipping internationally in 2 days for $26 because they're shipping 300 helmets over and they're taking an entire plane.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I work for a company where we go through UPS for everything, and an overnight shipping package that should cost $100 costs us $12. So like I get that game and all that, and I'm fine with that. It's just I think that they need to be a little bit more clear with maybe have all these people who are doing the reviews be a little bit more clear with what you're getting versus what the consumer would be getting.
Right. We're lagging a little bit, everybody. I know we're buffering. It's YouTube. YouTube hates me. It is what it is. We'll work through it. Looks like it's going to come back here shortly. So I'll black the screen out one more time. We'll see if it pops back in here. Current resolution. Yeah.
It looks like you're coming through for me.
Yeah, it's funky here and there. So
yeah, you were lagging for a little bit, and then it looked like it picked back up.
Yeah, so it may come back here shortly. I've got fun issues with my network switch right now. I'm arguing with the company who gives me information and support. They don't like me much either, so I pay for 100 up, 100 down, and I'm getting 100 down, 14 megabytes up right now, which is arguably problematic. So,
oh, you must have Spectrum.
Oh, you know the situation.
I work in technical support, so
yeah. I want to pay for fiber. Fiber is probably 3 years away from my area yet. It's literally a mile down the road, but it won't be coming out here for a while.
I live in a town that has fiber, so I have fiber. And actually, when I was house shopping, like for a while, I was looking in like Salem, Mass. I really wanted to live there. And I found out that there was no fiber and they only had Comcast. And I was like, yeah, I'm not moving there.
I mean, it's fair. Like it's a big thing. Like if I'm at work, which is not even 6 miles from where I'm at, I've got 450 up, 450 down. And that's paying for 500.
Nice.
So I'm happy with that. YouTube videos uploading is amazing on 400 gigabytes upload speed. Like you upload a 8 gig video to YouTube on 14 megs up, it's fucking ugh.
A lot of it is you have to really look at the way they advertise it to you, because a lot of times it's like Comcast is infamous for it. They'll be like, hey, sign up for this new package up to 80 gigs up and 80 gigs down. So yeah, that's the ceiling. That doesn't mean you're going to get the ceiling.
Right. It's only the guaranteed is 14. Well, that's what you get. I'm guaranteed 12. I get 14. Thank you. I appreciate the extra 2 megabytes per second. Open up the fucking garden hose, jackass. I'm like, I know you can give me 100.
I was gonna say I have FiOS and I pay for like 25 or 30 gigs up and down. And they had to replace my modem once, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna get more than that because yeah, we just pretty much give it away at this point. We don't." Right. So I have like 50 or 60.
Yeah, especially on fiber, it doesn't pay for them to try to restrict it. It costs more money.
Yeah, they're just like, whatever, man. Like you're gonna get more than you pay for it. I'm like, no, I only want what I paid for.
Right? No, there's people like that. You know, that's the 80-year-old lady at the deli who's complaining about the 0.01 pounds over that the person was that she asked for. Take it. So we'll go back into the chat. I'm not playing. Operator Tony says, but you're not playing music or the touchy subjects. Operator Tony, you don't have to play music or talk about touchy subjects all the time. You can get it anytime. So they don't like me, period. It's okay. I just blame YouTube because it's easier than saying, well, my internet's trash, or I'm dropping frames on my computer because my computer's a potato, or it's probably a combination of all those things, but it is what it is. So Mario's complaining about the buffering. Let's see. We got any questions in here? They try to keep your brain matter in one place. Talking about helmets. So Mario said he did use a Bell drag racing helmet back in the day. Good for you. You kept some of your brains intact. Now you just run around shooting canics all day. So how can you order a helmet without trying it on? I can actually answer that. I was very concerned about that myself. Ordering a helmet without trying it on. But their description and the way they outline how you need to measure your head and what shape your head is and all that stuff, if you're honest with it and don't be like, I don't have an egg head, and don't try to like measure it so your head's smaller or whatever. And measure it the way they say you measure it. I measured it once. The wife measured it once for me because I'm like, you need to check it out. And then I had another person measure it, and I'm like, all right, we all got the same answer. This is what I'm going with. And it fit snug when it came in. I expected it to fit snug. It's a full face helmet. A lot of people complain about that too. It's like, it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Does it hurt when you put it on? It's not supposed to do that. But
do you have to crush your head, but it's supposed to be snug.
Do you have giant elephant ears? Do you tuck them in before you put the helmet on? See if that helps. But yeah, I was concerned about it, but I also read the policy too, where if it's not right, you can return it. Like their customer service is really good as far as that, and the reviews that I heard, they were really willing to work with people. So would it have sucked if I had to wait another 3 months? Sure. But luckily for me, I ordered during a time where we weren't supposed to go anywhere. So,
well, it's also like one of the things I don't understand, because I did the same thing with Quinn. And when I ordered my Quinn helmet, it was online. I measured my head. I hit them up and I was like, hey, man, this is the measurements I've got. It says I'm supposed to be in an extra large. But I've heard your helmets fit kind of small, and I usually wear a 2X. So what's up? And they're like, oh, yeah, we tend to run a little bit smaller. I'm like, okay, well, your measurements say extra large. I'm going to go for a 2X then. Sounds good. Got the thing. It was like practically crushing my head. And like I sat in the house with it, and like I would take it off, and I had like a headache because it was so tight. And I like hit them up, and they're like, all right, we'll do a replacement and stuff, and charge me for the replacement. I'm pretty sure they just replaced the padding that was inside it, and they really could have just sent me the padding and I could have replaced it. Like, I understand that there's only like 3 shell sizes, so that all seemed like a waste of time. But going back to Bolt Bucket's question, you can order them, and most of them will give you that option to return them if they don't fit correctly. With like a company like Quinn, though, what went wrong was once you wear it out, if you take it for a ride, you can no longer return it. And you kind of need to do that to find out if it sucks or not.
Yeah, no, I do get that. And the wind noise, like I said, for me, I wasn't concerned about wind noise, so the road wasn't going to be a problem. So I was a weirdo, man. For like a week, I'd just grab the helmet and I'd put it on and just walk around the house all, whatever, and nobody was going to judge me. It was pandemic time. I could have been in my fucking boxers running around with my helmet on, doing work from home, as long as I was in a meeting, not in a Zoom call, we were good.
See, I never turn on my camera for my Zoom, so it doesn't even matter.
Our company policy is we have to. And once they found out I have a decent camera, then they were like, yeah, you have no excuse not to.
See, I went out, I threw my camera on my bike. I went for like a half-hour ride, and then I took that video and I rendered it down to 480 and I uploaded it as my animated background, and then I just covered my camera. So it's just like, when I jump into a Zoom, it just looks like I'm on my bike riding. And they've just basically given up, and they're cool with that now.
Yeah, and for the most part, we could probably get away with some of that too. No, they're telling us we're not so professional anymore. So we just finally got, like, this is how old fashioned like the company I work for is. They were fighting tooth and nail not to do any work from home, even through COVID. And then on top of that, they still wanted you wearing dress clothes while working from home. Like, okay, I'm putting on I'll put my dress shirt on the desk next to me, and if somebody calls me, I'll pull that shit on. Otherwise, I'm sitting here in my fucking underwear.
They sent us home right away, and it just turned into like, we're gonna have a Zoom, and I mean, I might be wearing pants. I don't know. Just there's a fair chance I'll turn off the camera before I stand up, and that's all you should really hope for in life.
Yeah. Don't ask me to stand up, number one. Number two, just live with it.
Yeah. I'm always like, there's a fair chance I'm not even going to be here for the meeting. I'm going to turn on the animated background, and then I'm going to go mow my lawn. So,
yeah. As Dr. Catmilk says, dress clothes promote a professional atmosphere.
Yeah,
there's nothing about us as professional. Like, I live in Wisconsin. I work for a company that designs equipment that cuts cheese.
I see
there's so many jokes there, it's not even funny.
Yeah. The great part about Boston is we're a huge tech hub. Everyone's hiring. We have startups everywhere, and all the startups, to try and get people to work there, they just turned it into these giant like hangouts, basically. Like, you go to these companies and the perks are like coffee on tap, like, cold brew, nitro, all this stuff, like literally on tap, 4 or 5 beers on tap. You can drink at work, casual dress, all the vacation time you want, paid parking, paid like this and that, like happy hours, free lunches. So it's like, it's ridiculous. You can show up in jeans and a t-shirt, drink all day. As long as you get your job done, they don't give a fuck.
Right. Yeah, and that's how, I mean, a lot of places are starting to get to that point, but it's like, yeah, as my wife says, as the kids run through the house with nothing on, That's a very professional. Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I'm not even joking. Like, I'd turn around, my daughter would be standing next to me watching her tablet, butt naked. I'm on a fucking Zoom call. It's like, all right, I'm glad the camera's up here.
Well, this just turned into a felony. I gotta go, guys.
Yeah, so I will see you guys later. My fault, I guess, for building my desk in an area the family has at the time, but hey, we were good there. Yeah, G23 says I had to go to work, didn't get to stay home. That's the thing. Like, even though I was sent home, like, I'm an engineer by trade. I do mechanical design. I shouldn't even say I'm an engineer because I don't do engineering work anymore. I don't calculate shit. I stopped that a long time ago. I go with the over design it and I know it'll work mentality now because I'm sick of. I know it's going to work and it's not what's not going to work and we're not going to change that. So, I just design stuff at this point, and there's no need for me to be sitting in a cubicle with a fucking sneeze guard on because that's what they decided to do too. It's like, really? I'm literally okay. We have to maintain 6 foot of distance from everybody. I'm sitting in a cubicle with 4 other people, and I got a sneeze guard. It's like, am I in a buffet or am I at a fucking workplace? But hey, I gotta wear my dress pants and my dress shirt.
Yeah, I'm so glad we didn't have to do that. They were just like, go home. And then after a couple months, they're like, oh, that's weird. That whole thing where everyone keeps saying you could do your job from home. That's real. You can just do your job from home.
Yeah. Now they're like, they wanted everybody, and my boss is one of those guys, and I don't know. I mean, he knows it, and if he ends up seeing it, I don't care. He doesn't trust anybody. Like, the guy installed security cameras inside the building, not outside. Because
that'd probably be my last day at that job. I'd be out.
Yeah, but I mean, he at least it's in like areas where there's entrances, but he wants to see if people are leaving with his equipment, not if somebody's trying to come in and steal something. I guess you could catch it if somebody comes in too, but it's kind of one of those. They're kind of conveniently pointed toward the work areas.
So I've been going in on Fridays to help one of our in-office teams work, and like I went in there today, and when I first walked in, there was like a girl that I've never seen before sitting towards the front door when I walked in. And the first thing I thought was like, well, I guess we're not doing gangster rap today. Like there's like a team of 4 that are in that building, and that's it. And like, I bring in a speaker box and we just play the worst fucking music for the entire day.
Yeah.
And that's basically how things work. And like, we're in the business district of like Boston and stuff. So, I mean, it's not like we're in a dive or something like that.
Right. I mean, it's great. It's interesting to see like all these massive places just kind of shut down and all that stuff. It's really weird to see. But yeah, like my wife's in the chat. She says, "Hey, at least you don't have to wear a mask and have mandate for the vaccine." No, I do not. My company won't do that, thankfully. But she's not so lucky. She works for a healthcare company, and now they've mandated the vaccine, which could be interesting because they're apparently saying 77% of their employees are already vaccinated. But where she works, it's not 77% of the people, and 77% of the people are pretty pissed off about the mandates. I understand their concern. My wife specifically works in a hospice center. Like, people come there to die. Why are we so concerned about the virus? Like, it is what it is, and the majority of them are like, we've already had it. Some of us 2 or 3 times. Like, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and some people are more comfortable with it than others, and it'll be interesting to see where these mandates go. It's problematic in my opinion, but
I think it'll just turn into any of the other, like, we already have mandated vaccinations. I mean, like, you can't even go to school without having like your vaccinations up to par. So.
Well, I get that, but I think a lot of people are more concerned about how political this was made, and then how quickly it was pushed out.
It was made political,
right? but then you get how quickly they were developed and then rushed through the system, and then it is technically a legal problem to mandate an emergency use authorized drug. They don't know the long-term effects of it. They're saying it's safe, but then just like everything else, we get to this situation where, well, 6 years down the line, turns out you shouldn't drink fucking Roundup.
And I mean, like, as much as I ended up getting the vaccination. As much as I'd like to avoid getting it, I'm horrible at keeping up on shots and stuff. I looked at it a few different ways. The first is like I said, it never should have been a political thing. I didn't really worry about how fast it was developed because I understand how it was developed. Towards the beginning of the whole COVID thing, a lot of the scientists came out before they were even working on the vaccination. They're like, we already have the gene coding for this virus. And that's the hardest part. Once you get that coding, that's when you can start fixing it. And they were already working on stuff that was similar to this virus. So they were pretty much already there. It's like they already ran most of the race before this even happened.
Right.
As for the side effects, I look at it like we might get screwed. Think about all the soldiers back in the day, when they were getting treatment for Agent Orange and all that stuff. Yeah, there's a chance you might get screwed on it. I don't know.
Yeah. Operator Tony says, I've came to the conclusion that I'm not worried about the tracking part. I was in the Army, so only God knows how many chips I have in me already. This to me is one of the most disconcerting arguments against the vaccine is the tracking thing. Number one, technology that exists for RFID chips, the smallest they have is the smallest grain of rice. The needles they're using are, I believe they're 24 gauge hypodermic needles. There is nothing in existence that's being made technologically that is going through that needle tip into your arm.
The way I look at it, because I saw that stuff as well. Even if they did, let's say they developed a chip that is small enough to go into your arm right now. How fucking batshit insane are you to think that anyone gives a fuck about what you're doing on a daily basis?
Well, even if they did, we willingly carry our tracking chips around.
Well, and that's the thing is, it's like I don't have to check to see when you left your fucking double wide this morning there, fucking pa. I can just go look at your Instagram or your fucking TikTok or your Facebook or the 100 other things you've updated. I don't even have to ask you what you ate because you took 60 fucking pictures of it and uploaded that with 5 different filters on it.
Right. And the big thing is all the technology they're saying too, it's all RFID. It's like, okay, RFID is very shortwave. Number one. Number two, there are other things we're carrying. Like you ride a Harley, I ride a Harley. I have a key fob. It's RFID. The feds want to know where I am, and they've got tracking devices that can click RFID. All I got to do is check my registration. They can get it, and they can see me. And there it is. If they really have something that can pick it up, my Harley's going to give me away every time because I need the keys within fucking 3 feet of the bike for it to run.
And you're going to have your cell phone, and you're going to swipe your card when you buy something. I mean, how many people carry just cash now?
Right. So tracking to me is what it is. They're going to get whatever. That's like all the individuals who say, well, I'm buying guns to avoid the government, and the government won't know where it is because I'm doing X. You bought it with a fucking credit card, you idiot. Oh, it's an 80%. You bought it with a credit card. Look at all the people that are being raided by the ATF right now for things they've now deemed illegal that they purchased with a credit card.
Well, I mean, I always look at the people, the conspiracy theories drive me insane. I think a great example of that was when we had the Boston bomber up here, or the Boston bombers. What the Boston police did after that is they basically went door to door all through a couple different towns around Boston, specifically looking for these guys. Yeah, it kind of sucks that you had cops show up on your fucking doorstep. But if you watched Facebook at the time, there were so many people saying, oh shit, what they're doing is they're actually using this as an excuse to go through your house to see all the illegal like drugs and weapons you have, and they're going to come back and arrest you afterwards. It's been like almost 10 years now. These cops are fucking slow if that's what they're doing. Most of these people have probably fucking moved or died by now.
Yeah, and the thing is too is my biggest thing when people talk about it being like the cops, I'm like, do you even know the police? Like half the fucking cops aren't coming to take your shit. Like they don't willingly want to come do that to you. Like a lot of them they live in your neighborhood. They believe a lot the same you do. And
we were looking for a bomber, but hey, we got to go get Ted after this because I saw an ounce on his fucking table when we went through his apartment. It's like, shut up, dude.
But if they were gonna arrest you, they were gonna do it then and there.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. You've got it already. They can't arrest you after the fact.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, just the whole conspiracy thing, and it's the same with the chip thing. Is like, no one's following you. Like, what makes you think that anything you're doing is special enough to be fucking followed?
Well, and the thing is, if you are doing something that you're probably being followed for, you're being followed. If that's the case, like,
yeah,
there's nothing you can do about it. You're already being followed.
I'm just like, fuck, man. You don't have to implant the chip. Just subscribe to my fucking YouTube channel. There you go.
Right? Help me get monetized, motherfucker.
Yeah, get the whole fucking squad to sign on and like,
yeah,
get my view hours up.
Yeah. So, I've already had it. Do you need the vax? Dr. Catmilk says. I haven't had it. I'm probably, in my personal opinion, I don't need it, but I don't travel anywhere. And if my company decides to say, hey, you're going to travel tomorrow, well, I'm not. So I'm not getting the shot right now. I don't need it. Like, my personal opinion is I've had it. I know I've had it. I still can't smell from it. Thank you for COVID-19. I have a son in diapers, so it has been a godsend. Anybody who knows what cloth diapers smell like after a week knows COVID did me a favor. So I can still taste. I just don't smell. So it's good that way. My wife says, just hide behind the steering wheel. You will stay safe. That is an inside joke. So for those who don't know me, real quick rundown, about 15 and a half years ago, I was convicted of a felony take and drive without consent of a vehicle because I got drunk and got behind the wheel of somebody else's vehicle. And my fat ass tried hiding behind the steering wheel. So that's the inside joke there. Just stay behind the steering wheel. You'll be safe.
They'll never see me here.
Yeah, turns out that the prongs from a taser reach you just fine behind the steering wheel twice. So there's that. I don't suggest it. The vaccine has killed over 6,000 people, says Lag Demon. At varying degrees, and I don't discount people saying it because, specifically, without going into details, my wife has worked in hospice and she's seen things. Can't obviously talk about them due to HIPAA and all that stuff. I get to know about them because of bedfellow laws, but that's about it. So y'all are just going to have to use your imagination unless you want to sleep with me, and that's just fucking weird. So Operator Tony says, air is poison and is the most deadly. Think about it. Anything that breathes dies. This is true. Operator Tony, sounds like you're about to become an agoraphobe. So good luck with that.
Don't leave the house, dude.
G23, they couldn't get a warrant for your arrest or arrest you if they were looking for someone else or something else. Fruit of a poisonous tree. Very true. That is technically the law. Anything that they find while they're searching your property while under the premise of searching for somebody or something else, based on the standing orders that they had specifically in Boston. I know it was a judge's order saying that they could go in and do it, but unless it was specifically related to the bombing, it was null and void, basically, as far as prosecutorial evidence being found. So,
I mean, the way I look at it, like the same thing is like, unless you were being a complete and absolute utter fuck up, nobody was getting fucking arrested for anything anyway.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure if the cops came in and you had a full blown fucking meth lab, I'm perfectly fine with them arresting you at that point. But
right. I'm thinking that you probably put up enough of a fight that they didn't have to find the meth lab to arrest you.
yeah, it's like and like usually the people that I see that go like above and beyond with the conspiracies and shit are either batshit insane or they're doing something that's probably going to land them in prison.
Right. And this is generally the truth. So let's see, we've been going now for about an hour. I know you're exhausted. I'm pretty beat. We do this anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. If you want to hang out for a couple more minutes, I'm glad to do it. Otherwise,
Yeah,
well, Iron Mitts and Axe has just jumped in the chat, says sup peeps. Sup peep. If you want to be a soft marshmallow chicken.
yeah, it's like great. I'm a Easter candy that makes people puke.
Well, it only makes people puke if you eat like 30 of them. Luckily, they come in 40 packs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there any other way to eat them?
I don't know. I have never eaten a peep.
I'm not a fan of peeps at all. So
I've never been a fan of marshmallow candies, marshmallows on pretty much anything, unless it's s'mores, and they have to be golden brown. They cannot be burned.
fair enough.
So I'm that guy who will sit there and perfectly roast the damn thing or hand it off. So don't take me camping is basically the theory there. Iron Mitts and Axes, how are you? Haven't seen you 2-3 weeks. Good to see you again. G23. Yeah, we read that one already. And requests tonight, Mario. We probably aren't gonna do requests tonight. I don't think we'll be doing any music tonight. Typically, at the end of the show, we get bored and we try to get my channel banned. Basically, Mario tries to get my channel banned. I should say. He generally requests music that gets me copyright struck or taken down or whatever, and it's okay. We try to avoid it as much as possible, but it sometimes doesn't happen. I don't remember who it was last week, but we got the channel pulled down, or we got it pulled down after the fact for not being played, and we got it fixed. It's just edited.
I didn't know you actually pulled down channels for copyright strikes. I just thought you can't monetize the video.
So it depends on the copyright itself. So there are certain individuals out there like UMG, Roadrunner Records, so like Slipknot stuff. If you play it, they'll pull it down. It won't be allowed to be played anywhere. It's not that they strike your channel, but they pull down the video.
No, fair enough.
It's not so bad, but it puts a mark on your channel basically for YouTube. And it makes them not like you a little bit more. And
well, good thing I can't remember the last Roadrunner band I've listened to.
I don't care if they don't like me, I guess. I've always been like, we're gonna say what we're gonna say, and I talk politics a lot because it's something that drives me nuts. So it's what grinds my gears.
I honestly, I usually stay away from, and I mentioned this in the 5 things as well, as I stay away from like the politics and religion, just because like it's not that I don't like talking about them. I actually really like talking about both of them. It's just that I found that in our society in general, like people will just lose their shit, and they will just. You can't have a discussion anymore where you disagree with somebody and it doesn't like just degrade down into like name calling and like fucking everything else. It's insane.
Right. Real quick, Operator Tony wants to know, how was my Chick-fil-A? I did a short on my channel yesterday. Was it yesterday? Thursday? Yeah, yesterday. I was going to be in an area where there was a Chick-fil-A for a little bit of time, and I thought that I'd be able to sneak over there and have it for the first time. I had not ever had Chick-fil-A before. Not sure if you're a fan or whatever, But
I can tell you right now,
yeah.
Chick-fil-A is, I'm going to just say it right now. Chick-fil-A is a giant pile of shit if you ever like go down south. So I used to live in North Carolina. There are 2 chicken joints down there that you really care about. There's Chick-fil-A and then there's Bojangles. So Bojangles, like Chick-fil-A, you walk in there, everything's nice, it's clean, it's bright, like they use white tile on everything. You go up to the front counter, they're friendly, they like having you there. And then like you go to Bojangles, it's like going to the like crossing the tracks and going to the wrong side of town. Like all their like tile is like brown and orange. Everything looks dirty. They hire the dumbest motherfuckers behind the counter. And like I'll tell you a true story about that after, but yeah, you go in there and you get like a spicy chicken biscuit or something. It is better than anything Chick-fil-A will ever make you ever, period, like fat.
And this is the funny thing. Like, I've had Bojangles, so I worked for like 6 months straight, in Durham, North Carolina.
Yep. I was living down in that area.
So when John Deere put their new Hitachi and hydraulic excavator division down there, I spent 6 months down there helping them get the plant off the ground. So I learned, number one, motherfuckers in North Carolina don't drive in the snow, and neither does anybody who works anywhere ever. So if it's an eighth of an inch of snow, the entire fucking place is shut down. So I hope you got something in your hotel room to eat.
Dude, they don't drive in the rain either.
I didn't experience the rain issue so much because I was there during winter. I use air quotes because it was 47 degrees during the day, an eighth of an inch of snow at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I got screamed at because I showed up at the facility.
Dude, I had a Ninja when I was down there, and I got on the highway. I got on like 84, I think it was, and I was doing like 60 or 70, and it started downpouring. So I continued to do 60 or 70, and cars pulled over. They had their emergency lights on. There were cars like stopped under like overpasses. I'm like, you got a motherfucking roof and windows, and you're still hiding under a bridge, you fucking dipshit. Like they can't handle weather. It's insane. They also can't handle road rage.
Right. Yeah. Drive through Illinois. You'll fix that. Clover Tech, welcome to the show, buddy. I haven't seen you here before, but glad to see you jump in. He says he ate the Chick-fil-A breakfast chicken, mint sandwich, and wow, awesome stuff. Overpriced, but awesome. So I will finish my story real quick. I never got to Chick-fil-A. Number one, I was in a hurry to get back home. The things didn't work out timing wise, and I headed home. So we bought my daughter a guinea pig yesterday. So she's 3 going on 4. So it's like the world to her, but it meant a lot of work before putting her to bed. So, but it ended up being, we got it taken care of, got home. Didn't do the Chick-fil-A because it wasn't in the place where I thought it was. And then when I saw it, the line was to the fucking road, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going home. I had a 30-minute drive home. I'm not spending 20 minutes in the line at Chick-fil-A. So
you've had Bojangles, so you're not missing anything.
Yeah, no, Bojangles is definitely amazing. So I get it. And it was definitely walking in there. It's like, all right, this is a dive.
Yeah, it's like a crime scene. It's like every one of them is like a crime scene. I literally, so I went in there, like what I say about like hiring the dumbest fucks. Like I went in there once and I was trying to be cool with my office and stuff. So I go in and I'm like, hey, give me a dozen, chicken biscuits. Girl behind the counter goes, how many? I go, a dozen. She goes, how many? I'm like, a dozen. And I'm not making this up. Like, and she goes, how many is that? I go, 12. And she goes, oh, okay. Starts typing it all in. So I hand her my card. She fucking swipes my card. She hands me like the slip to sign. She goes, I need your John Hancock right there. So I go, out of curiosity, who's John Hancock? And she goes, Oh, I don't know. It's,
Aw.
so I signed. She's still holding my card. She is holding my fucking card, and I signed the slip, John Hancock, and I hand it back to her. Now she has my fucking card. She can see my name's not John Hancock. She looks at the thing and goes, "Oh, I just met someone famous." And I'm like, "Yeah, you did." Like, get my card. I need to get out of here.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. Well, little did she know that she was meeting a soon-to-be YouTuber, Bikes, Beards, and Brews.
Yep, with
She
like
was right. She got it.
all 5 of my followers.
Well, come on, you're at what, 500 followers? That's impressive.
I'm a little under that, but yeah, I mean,
No, really?
when I started, I just didn't really care.
Oh, it's all right. We'll try to push some more followers your way because I appreciate your content. It's fun. Like I said, anybody in the chat who isn't already subscribed, head over there. Check out his content. I'm not saying you have to subscribe, but check it out. Get his watch
You have to, but you have to.
Right. It's not required, but the guy lives in Salem. I'm just saying there's a lot of witches there. It could be bad for you.
It's like witches and lesbians. I will send them all to your house.
Aren't they all lesbians?
Yeah, it's synonymous.
I mean, it's one and the same, right? Better Business Bureau walks into Bojangles, orders a Whopper just to fuck with them. Probably, but they probably get it too. So as long as they order it with a gallon of sweet tea.
Oh yeah, dude, sweet tea down there. Like everyone is like a fucking. You just get diabetes.
Yeah, it's amazing that there ain't more people down there going, I got diabetes.
They probably do, but none of them have medical insurance, and none of them go to the doctors or the dentist.
That's not true. They have medical insurance for 1 month out of the year because everybody works for 3 months out of the year and is like, fuck it, I made enough money, I'm going home.
I just remember I went to a county fair down there in Raleigh, and it was nuts to butts. Like you could not even get into the place because it was so packed. Like it was just like a herd of cattle. I actually ordered food at a booth I was walking by and got the food before I could move forward. Everything was deep fried. I did not know you could deep fry Kool-Aid and Coca-Cola until I lived in North Carolina.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that definitely you can deep fry that I didn't know, I wasn't aware of. So I know it was asked earlier. I know there's a couple individuals in the chat. A lot of the people who are in my chat are music heads. So what type of music did you play? Now, Armaments and Access just said, I'm jealous of his mohawk. LOL.
So I had a couple different styles of band over the year. I did hardcore, death metal, thrash metal, little bit of new metal back in the day, but it was definitely more like hardcore metal and stuff.
There you go. You made Mario in the chat happy with that. He hasn't said it yet, but I know that for a fact. So, like I said, he's usually the one who gets us banned every other week, but he's requesting obscure mainstream bands that I was into metal probably like 10 years ago, and then I kind of I faded off. I don't know. I'm into like so much different shit that I listen to just random stuff, and now I'm like, I don't listen to anybody who's not independent at this point because number one, I can listen to them on my streams. I can play them on my motorcycle vlogs. I can do whatever I want. Nobody's gonna say shit about it. I'll get copyright claim, but I'm not monetized anyways yet, so I don't care. And for if
you're looking for a band where you're not going to get copyright struck and all that shit, and that's independent, look up Widow's Sunday.
Widow's Sunday.
I recommend starting with the song "Blood Money." They are friends of mine. The guitarist actually is the one who created my logo. So
nice.
They are a fucking heavy ass band.
Well, there you go. Now Mario's got somebody to look up too. He says, I'm a metal freak. So that's good.
Well, then he could also add to his collection if he hasn't found them yet. Dry Kill Logic. They've got a lot of great stuff. A band that I think got forgotten mainly because the lead singer died, but they probably put out like one of those perfect albums back in the 90s, is a band called Snot. and it's an album called Get Some. And then if you like hardcore, there's a band called Throwdown that's fantastic.
There you go. Mario's got his work cut out for him. So Mario, you didn't get any requests tonight, but you've been given homework. I don't know how you feel about that, but you're gonna have to let me know. He says cool in the chat though, so he'll be all over that shit like flies on fucking rice. Bry the Biker says Ben is the man. I think that's the second time you said it, or I've just read it again a second time.
He just really wanted to emphasize that.
That's all right.
I know that Bry has been highly amused with me fucking around with both helmet companies, Quinn and Roar Rock. So
yeah, no, it's entertaining stuff, and that's the thing. Like, I come to YouTube for entertainment. Like when I go and try to find somebody, and what's really interesting, it's been like this last week. So I don't know. It's like the last 3 weeks. I don't know what it is. I think it was the first time that I caught a shade tree surgeon, like, goddamn reveal, whatever. When you play it live and you're in the chat, whatever. I can't even think of the word right now. It's been a long fucking day. Just a release, whatever. Premiere, there you go, with the shitty fucking 2 minutes worth of music that doesn't start until after the time should start. But yeah, definitely. I caught one of his premieres, and then I ran into I think Bry was there. God, I'd have to go into my YouTube list here even, and all of a sudden it was like all these different like moto vlog channels, and it's like, whoa, I'm gonna go look at some of this stuff. And that's just kind of like how I am. I just go down a rabbit hole sometimes. And now I'm literally watching. I've got Junkyard Dad Ski, Shade Tree Surgeon is there, obviously. New subscriptions. Let's see what I got. Yeah, I don't know. Hell's on Two Wheels. You were in there.
Do you have like Salty and Sprinkles, Big Smitty Riding?
I haven't got Salty and Sprinkles in there yet. Big Smitty Riding is in there. Loving his fucking mullet.
Yep. Setzer Pendants.
Yeah, so there's a couple of them that I'm just starting to dig into their stuff, and I'll decide if I'm subbing soon here shortly, because I haven't watched any of their stuff. It's like, all right, they're on my list. I'm gonna go in here, and it's like, I make these playlists where I just sit and I'm in an engineering office for 9 to 12 hours a day. I've just got stuff going in the background all the time.
That's basically how I do it as well. Like I have all my subs. So what I normally do, and I'm trying to get better about this, I learned that there's a subscriptions tab on YouTube. I just don't pay attention to the things around.
Right.
Where if you click on it, it shows you all the channels that you subscribe to. It's like, let's say you click on it and it's Monday. It shows you all the videos from people that you subscribe to that came out on that Monday.
Right.
And you can watch them all. Normally what I do is I just refresh fucking YouTube 100 times, and I just keep I open like 60 tabs and I watch straight across until I run out of tabs and do it again.
Open a new tab, open a new tab, open a new tab, open a new tab. I'll do that if there's like certain stuff. It's like, oh, that caught my eye. I need to watch that. And then everything else just goes on the list of like unseen that just plays in the background.
I usually try and keep up with everyone I subscribe to. Like Bry the Biker does a lot of like really good interviews, and he's got some good like install videos and stuff like that. So I'll check out his stuff. Big Smitty Riding and Salty and Sprinkles. Like I chat with those guys all the time on Instagram, like in DMs and stuff, and we get along great. So like I'll pay attention to them a lot. I do watch the bigger channels like Shade Tree and all that. Honestly, I've been watching him a little bit less though, just because his videos have gotten longer and longer. So it's like, all right, you got a 40-minute video here that you could do in 10. And right. I have all this other stuff I'd like to watch too. So
right. Yeah, I'll like watch for a minute, and it's like his intros are the best.
Yes.
And then after that,
well, actually, I take that back. Big Smitty Riding's intros are the best.
Okay, Big Smitty Riding has some fun intros. I will say I literally like watched 3 of his videos, and it was literally the intros that were like, all right, I'm subbing to this guy because he's got this intro thing down. Everything else is secondary. Like his content is good. Don't get me wrong, but those
Oh.
30 to 45 seconds of video at the beginning are hilarious.
Yeah, he says that as well. He's like, the best thing I do is my intros. I threatened to unsubscribe to him at one point because I gave him like the perfect intro, and he ended up getting a new bike before he could use it. So I don't know if you've seen it recently, but he bought a Goldwing.
Right.
His old bike was a Valkyrie and it was blue. So I was trying to get him to do a video where like his wife was like, "Oh, hey, I noticed that you have a blue bike," and like have him say, "Oh yeah, I really, really like blue. I really like blue," and then have her like say, "Oh, is that so you can like you can't tell where like your balls end and your bike begins?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna use that," and they traded his bike like a dick.
No, that's good. That's real good. Let's see. Armaments and Axis says we were house band for open mic night at Bear in the early 2000s, and a screamo metal band would come in now and then with all the mosh pit buddies. Didn't last long. The owner shut it down. Well, that's.
I remember we actually did a show at a club that didn't allow moshing, and we went through our whole set, and a couple people tried to mosh a few times, and the bouncers kept breaking it up. And then we closed with like 2 songs back to back, and one of them was we would cover Rain and Blood from Slayer, and then we'd go into like our like thrash metal song to close out the night. And when we broke into Slayer, people showed up in Slayer shirts that I didn't see for the entire fucking set. Like I don't know if people kept their Slayer shirts in the car just in case someone like played Slayer, but all of a sudden like the whole fucking room turned into a mosh pit, and the bouncers just gave up. They just let it happen. And so it was a good time.
I'm going to be honest. I've been to some metal shows. I've been to a couple different, like, I mean, really heavy shows where mosh pits were fucking center stage. Like, it was a big thing. I've never, this is going to sound bad from, I was in the worst mosh pit ever at an ICP concert.
I think
it was horrid.
I think the worst mosh pit I've ever been in, and it was like the most serious mosh pit I've ever seen to this day, is I went to Northampton, Mass. There was a club called Pearl Street, which was just a giant concrete box. And the band was die-cast before they got their shitty Meatloaf-looking singer. And they came out on stage, like I used to describe die-cast as like Hatebreed with talent, because I mean their guitar work is amazing. But that entire concrete box just turned into a mosh pit from wall to wall, and it didn't stop until the band fucking like said thank you, good night. It was just insane.
Yeah, I know that, like I said, to me, the worst one, and maybe it was the worst one for me at the ICP concert, because I typically try to avoid the mosh pit because I have a really short temper. I'm Irish and Polish and Indian. So, like Native American. I have a fucking short temper. And if I get popped and I don't expect it, it really pisses me off, especially if I get hit in the head. And the only thing I remember from that mosh pit was I know for a fact I broke somebody's collarbone, maybe their shoulder, possibly their arm. And it wasn't intentional. It was like they're doing the whole stupid, I'm going to throw an elbow on you. And they did it 2 or 3 times. And eventually I just took everything I had and shoved it directly into their shoulder as they were coming down. And it was bad news for somebody. So,
see, I always get annoyed with like the designer mosh pits. Like, I remember I was at one and like 2 kids, they're holding hands and they're spinning through the pit. People were getting annoyed because, there's a lot of momentum there. You couldn't stop them. I was like, this is really easy to stop, right? Talking to the guy next to me. He's like, what do you mean? So they started coming around. I just stuck my foot out, watched them both fucking collapse. It's like you just got to think this shit through. I mean, when I'm in the pit, I don't mind getting hit because that's what I expect. I actually hate getting hit when you're not in the pit. Like you get some dipshit crowd surfer or, some dude who like dives into you because he's trying to start a pit. That's the things that piss me off.
Right. And well, that was like kind of how this whole thing was too. It was like, it wasn't that I was in the pit. It was that the pit became where I was. You know how that it's just the pit starts moving and growing, and then it's like there's no place to move, and all of a sudden the pit is where you are, and now you're forced into a situation where, yeah, you got to kind of do something, and it's like, well, I'm either gonna be stuck here or I got to try to move, and my fat ass ain't getting them people to move very easily. So, all right, I guess I'm here.
I've had people like apologize for hitting me. It's just hilarious. Like,
Well, and I don't know, how tall are you? Because like your pick, like I didn't think you were that big at first, and then I'm like, all right. So I'm thinking all of a sudden I'm calculating this picture from Laconia where you're standing next to the rack, and I'm like, okay, so those racks are 4'8" tall. Your head is 8 inches above the rack. So how tall are you?
see, I don't even consider myself that big. I'm 6'1". So,
Okay,
but
so maybe they were lower, but it's just like, damn,
I hang out with short people. So it's like,
could be possible.
like I definitely like there's another guy who actually did a shout out for me recently, Infamous Creep. He's got a pretty good channel as well. He was like, damn, are you like 9 feet? And it's like, no, just all my friends are hobbits.
Yeah, I guess that's a possibility. So, yeah, Armaments and Access says bingo, tactical pineapple, Irish and Cherokee here. Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. You mix, and I'm Ojibwa and Irish. Like you mix Irish blood with Native American blood, and there is something there. Now, the other end of that means that you either have skin that's accepting of sun or you have skin that rejects the sun. My skin is good. My daughter's skin is good. My son is as ginger comes. So, unfortunately for him, he's pale white and likes to burn real fast. And
Yeah.
I tan very well. So,
I'm Irish, Scottish, and Polish, so the sun's out to kill me.
right, exactly. Um, Mario Mechanic Molina says greatest pit was sick of it all. Slayer and Sepultura performing a Sepultura. Yeah, there you go. The song together, it was ridiculous. The whole stadium exploded.
Yeah, and that would have been Sepultura before they got their new lead singer. So he's talking back in the day with Max and Igor Cavalier.
Yeah. So, and then there's the metal thing. I'm not huge. Like, I honestly, I got into some metal. I was really into Meshuggah for a while.
See, you got to go with like his metal. So like, it's funny because I was just listening to Sick of It All today with Take the Night Off and Death or Jail. Sepultura back in the day, like you had Territorial Pissings, like just all that, like they're just fucking awesome. And then Slayer, I'd say with Slayer, like Seasons of the Abyss is still one of my favorite albums, like Dead Skin Mask and all that. It's just great.
Yeah, and I love Slayer. Slayer's amazing. It's just like getting into some of the obscure bands. I was never really, I guess, cultured into it. I didn't have a lot of friends who were into it, so I got into some of it, and then it was kind of pushed away. Like I don't know. I kind of just moved away from it because everybody else was listening to shit that I didn't really get into, like the mainstream music, Skillets and all them, and I was like, it's not bad, but like, ugh.
I think you gotta have a good balance. Like I listen to so much stuff. Like, I'm talking like, I went to like Slayer's farewell show, and then maybe a month before that, I was at a Social Distortion show, and like then February rolls around. I'm over at Dropkick Murphys, and then I'm off seeing like John Williams and like the guy who did like the Star Wars soundtrack.
Right.
I've seen that guy live twice. It's I feel like to appreciate music, you gotta appreciate a lot of different music.
Yep.
Not Nickelback, but a lot of different
Not
music.
Nickelback, except for the fact that I guarantee you sing like half their songs if they come on.
Oh God, they're just fucking a nightmare.
Yes, yes, they are. So, Bolt Bucket says 6'4" Aussie here. So yeah, that's tall. Like, I mean,
Well, that's because like Australia is like 6 inches from the sun, and everything fucking grows taller in the sun.
uh, I say it's the meat that they eat down there. They're not allowed to have any byproducts, so they just eat all this meat that's phenomenal. And best steaks I ever had came from Australia. So it might have been kangaroo meat. I don't know. I don't care either. So it was good. Armament and Axis says I used to be 6 foot, but like 5'11" now. So he does say he's old-ish, so that makes sense. I say that I'm between 5'10" and 6 foot, depending on what convenience store I'm leaving. So I think the official measurement is 5'11", but whatever. Height doesn't make a big deal out of me unless you're below 5'8", and then you're just a midget. So at least you're not a lawn ornament, so that's good.
Yeah.
Biotech is Godzilla, says Mario Mechanic Molina.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So before things devolve too much, I would like to say thank you for coming on.
No problem. My pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Like I said, there's no real format to this. There's no real rhyme or reason to our live show whatsoever. Oftentimes, we rant about something, and then my wife says, "Hey, I'm under 5'8". I don't think you're under 5'8". I think you say you're under 5'8" because you're a woman, and women like to say they're smaller than they are.
And just to answer Armin and Axis there, of course I've heard of Dream Theater. I'm like, you definitely want to go with their original drummer though. Their new one just isn't as good.
Yep. So, yeah, there it is. There it is. Got to see DT live once with Portnoy. When Portnoy was still with him.
I'm not gonna lie. I fell asleep when I went to go see him. I went to. They were on like Gigantor with like Megadeth and Life of Agony and Dry Kill Logic and Fear Factory, and they came out and like it was just one long song, and I just fell asleep. I woke up for Pull Me Under. That's already a long song, and they somehow turned it into like a half an hour fucking song, and like I wanted them to be done so quick. Like, I appreciate everything. I appreciate the talent that goes into that band, but it's a challenge.
Yeah, there's a lot of music that's like that, especially, you got to be in a certain mood for it too, which is why I have a hard time with concerts, because it's like I don't know what mood I'm going to be in that day. Like I could honestly buy tickets to a concert, go there and be like, this is trash. Like I can't.
I think it depends on what the band brings to the table too, because I mean I've gotten to see some bands that realistically not a good show, but they put out like some great energy and you enjoy it. And they've gone to shows like I know Bolt Bucket mentioned Slipknot. I saw them during the third album they put out, like Volume 3, and that show sucked. I left probably about halfway through because it was so fucking boring.
Right. That was the heavy drug use era.
It was that, and they just were not interesting on stage. They weren't like, all the videos you see where they're going nuts and they're thrashing around and all that. They weren't doing that. It was just, it's very straightforward. It was very rehearsed and just boring. And I was like, I'm out, man. Like I saw Fear Factory. They were kind of like that. I'd say the best band I've ever seen live, it used to be White Zombie, and then I saw Rammstein live, and holy shit, they are just insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Some of the bands I know what I gotta say, Rammstein live was insane. I seen them. I don't remember. Yeah, it was early. It was early when they first started touring in the U.S. So they were still like riding the Du Hast-ish, train.
Yep.
Long before they sold out on the Triple X film. But
see, I saw them after that, and like the stage show now is just insane. It is absolutely insane.
I wouldn't doubt that. I make a joke. I joke about the selling out on it because it was like, but the movie, I hate the whole thing like that. But their band presence, I get it, and a lot of bands that are like that get better with time. I mean, I listen to all different stuff. A lot of my people know that I recently went to a Struggle Jennings concert. Don't know if you know who he is.
Nope, that doesn't ring a bell.
But he's like Antioch. Calls himself a rapper, but not really a rapper. He's a troubadour. You know, he's a balladeer and a storyteller. His concert was fucking amazing because he tells a story from start to finish throughout the entire night with his music and with the way he leads from one to another. And it's like there was no low point in the entire night, which made it amazing. So it's like it's not even necessarily the stage presence, it was just his storytelling.
That's so probably one of my favorite storyteller musicians. Probably the only person in the chat that would know who he is would be Bolt Bucket. And that's there's a guy called Kevin Bloody Wilson. And he tells stories on stage. He's Australian. But he also has a ton of songs that are fantastic. Like he's got one that's like, I had an absolute cunt of a day. He has a song called Dilly Gaff, one called You Can't Say Cunt in Canada. Just it's like folky sort of music, but he also does all these stories in between, and the dude's just fucking hilarious. He's so ridiculous.
That sounds awesome. So Mario Mechanic Luna says, dude, I saw White Zombie and Danzig back in the day live recording of.
Danzig is easily one of the shittiest bands I've ever seen live.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Glenn Danzig, period. And the music, I didn't mind some of it, but I probably could never do a live show. It's just like it's too much feed my ego. Like,
oh yeah,
I want to be. Well, I want to be Pink Floyd after Pink Floyd was cool, but not actually do any talented work.
Well, I thought it was so. I saw Metallica, Danzig, Suicidal Tendencies. Suicidal Tendencies opened that show, and like it was an outdoor show, and like it was just one giant mosh pit. Everybody was singing along. Everyone knew every fucking word to every Suicidal song. As they should, because Suicidal Tendencies is literally one of the greatest bands that ever exist. The lead singer came out, like, you know, he had a baseball jersey on. It was unbuttoned. It was middle of summer. You could see he's pretty fucking ripped. You look off to the side of the stage, and there's Glenn Danzig with a bench, like fucking bench pressing, trying to get pumped up and stuff before he came on stage. It's like half the size of like the Suicidal dude. When he came on stage, like there was literally like a 20-foot gap between the front rail and where the fans were. They all just fucking left. They came back for How the Gods Kill and Mother, and that was it. Nobody gave a fuck about Danzig.
Yeah. I mean, I can see
ridiculous.
I can see it. So Iron Man's Access says it only took me 35 years to finally go see Rush last tour before Neil died. And then Iron Man's Access also says was not a big fan of Motley Crue. Vince tended to sing out of key a lot. Back to a comment on
there.
Yeah, no, that's that's all 80s metal bands or hair metal bands will say tended to sing out of key a lot, especially live on stage. They didn't give a shit about the stage. It was all about the drugs and the women. So,
oh yeah,
just ask Axl Rose, right?
Yeah, I saw Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and Faith No More, and that was a nightmare of a fucking show.
All right. Bolt Bucket says Kevin Bloody Wilson is a legend here. So he knows.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, but it's getting pretty late here. 10:04. I think we're gonna call it. Like I said, I do appreciate stopping by. If anybody in the chat isn't already subscribed, like I said, you don't have to, but the link is there. Again, head on over to Bikes, Beards, and Brews. Check out his stuff. I know most of my guys will appreciate the commentary, the comedy that's in there. So give him a thumbs up, give him a subscribe. watch some of his videos.
If you don't, ET will find you and stalk you and creep you the fuck out.
Careful, they're all gun guys though. They might actually relish that opportunity. So they half of them sleep at night with their pistol under their pillow, dreaming of happy days when somebody comes and breaks their windows at 3:00 in the morning. The other half just say they do. So
fair enough.
Like I said, I've appreciated this. It's been fun. One of the better guests I've had in a long time. So there you go. Just random conversation, see where it goes. That's what we like to do here. So like I said, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. I appreciate everybody who stopped in the chat's time. I'd run through the names, but I'd miss and forget people. But Bolt Bucket, you've been here all night, so I'll give you the call out. Mario Mechanic Molina also is here. Armaments and Axis stopping in, and then a bunch of people coming by saying hey and saying away they go. So yeah, I missed Charles Sexton. He said he'll catch it on the replay. Charles, thanks for stopping by. I did say so in the text, but appreciate it. And then everybody else who's here, it has been fun. I have had a blast, and I appreciate each and every one of you coming by every single week. Again, thank you for stopping by Bikes, Beards, and Brews.
Yeah,
and,
thanks for having me.
Much success to your channel in the future. Get some rest. You look like you need it. I know I need it. So everybody that's out there, have a great evening.
Yeah, see y'all later.